Hi, this is me. I have a false sense of light in here. I actually turned the light on. I was going to make a video to cap off kind of the day. This is the time where it's 7:50 p.m. and the sun went down. I was going to make a video with a natural light, and I put the light on. I missed the sunset even. I barely glanced out. I have this self-employment worksheet. This is a bunch of questions. I have several pages. I don't even know how many pages. Oh shoot, I gotta make sure that I actually answered all these now. I'm getting all paranoid. I just read through it, but I didn't compare the questions. There's 2 pages of questions here, and I have pages and pages I've been typing over the past 3 weeks, and it's for... I'm angry. It's a business feasibility worksheet. There's no guarantee that I can end up with the self-employment, whatever. I haven't received a penny from an employment agency, and I've been spending hours a day filling out paperwork, getting denied. I read this thing that I had so much paperwork. They told me they were going to send me a bunch. It says that I was making, one quarter I made 20 hours a week, which is my pay, and when most of it I worked more because of other things, and part of that one I didn't work because of car accident, and it's like this car accident is haunting me. The car accident stuff, I didn't ask for sick pay. I should have, because I haven't seen a dime of that. And if you ask for sick pay, you're going to have to do that, but it's too late now. This thing says for July, August, and September last year that I only worked 13 hours a week. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then the same thing for January, February, March, and I don't know how they did December. Oh, I know what December we had holidays and they had days off. They would be like, okay, it's Thanksgiving, we're gonna give you a holiday on Thursday, but not on Friday, or something. It wasn't like that, but it was kind of like that. Or Christmas, they're like, oh, your place is gonna close days, and you're like, I'm supposed to work, and you're trying to come in early and scramble, but you can't do that because you have a life outside. When you have a part-time job, you're not sitting at home watching TV for half the day. At least I wish I kind of was, but two of these weeks in January and October I missed because of automobile accident injuries with a doctor that she wanted weeks, but was scared to be evicted. Some of this holiday, because my coworkers used their vacation hours, because they're like, it's not our fault that unfortunately, it would have been nice if they could actually take a vacation, but they were getting short hours because they would give the entire school certain days off and pay holiday pay. And these other departments, people would stay home day, but then other days we were supposed to work our regular hours. They would close early. I don't know. It's confusing. So if you were like if you were working in the other department, you'd probably get paid all day. Or probably the same thing. They probably only got paid part of the day either. I know why. Part of it is we were open till like 8 at night in the normal places. The normal workers would leave. Some of them were 7 to 3, 8 to 4, or 9 to 5. That's what it was. Because I was doing some nights, and they were closed. So it happened. Who work nights use their vacation pay. So unfortunately, they had to short their vacation. But they would just use a couple hours. They were full-time workers, and I was part-time, but I didn't have any. Yeah, this is causing me a headache. And somebody had dealt with. I don't know anyone who's done this, and somebody had dealt with unemployment. Like, yeah, within a week they got their unemployment, and they were full-time workers. So I'm sure they got paid a whole lot more than me, which is zero. They didn't deal with being students. They didn't deal with self-employment. They didn't deal with whatever else these people deal with. Like, oh, you went to school. When were you not at school? Because the school's closed. I'm like, it never closes. It's open year-round. It's like, there's like 12 holidays that's actually closed. So days. So I think President's Day is the only holiday that they stayed open because they let you off Martin Luther King, and I think they're open Columbus Day too. I think. I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't care. All I know is my friend was like, "Oh yeah, these people, the unemployment agency will help you, and they'll help you get a job, and they'll give you money so you can get." I didn't get help. Okay, I got this schedule of classes, but when you're doing studies for your program, for your career, how am I going to... I'm going to have to choose, and they know that. They make it hard. I'm going to try to go to some of these events, but I'm going to have to skip my midwifery training. I took a bunch of these classes when I was... I voluntarily took them. I was taking what people pay for school if you took these classes. There's similar classes, different time period, different classes actually, but then when it got to the end, they refused to give me the money. My neighbors got the money for school, and I was like, the money for school and daycare and all of the goodies that go with it, and I was like, so I still remember some of these job skills, and I, again, just now was like, I need to change my attitude. It's like, my cup is not, my cup needs to be emptied. It's full, and I'm not, I can't say, like, I was like, why should I do classes on, resumes? I already did my resume, but it's like, when I took the classes before, it was 5-10 years ago, no, it was like 9, 10, 11 years ago, probably 10 years ago, the stuff that he shared, media, the stuff that he did was, like, relevant for 10 years ago. 10 years is a long time. Like, this talks about MS Word, 3-hour workshop, learn how to create a resume, format text in your cover letter, MS Excel. I was like, it's like, oh, you will learn to create a spreadsheet, your job search. I meant to do that. Not offered in October. Create formulas and other formatting not covered in MS Office or Basic. MS Office not offered in October. This course provides instruction in Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. I took those classes. I got kicked out of the PowerPoint. I got kicked out because I kept going to these classes like you're supposed to and getting the certificates, and they're like, oh, your time is up. Because they doing pre-medical school. And I think they count it by the day. They let you do so many days, and because I was a full-time student in a different college in a different part of town, I had to do this stuff, and I didn't finish the PowerPoint. I think I made a whole bunch of PowerPoints then for my lab. How to use a keyboard and a mouse. Math and reading comprehension. English as a second language. How to complete an application package to apply for work source funds for occupational training. So I was like, I've already taken these classes, I've already done resume classes, I did interview classes, like, so right before I pushed record, I said, dump your cup and just go to the class, like, start going to one. It's like, I haven't got a job yet in a month, okay, so get your butt to this. So I'm telling myself, empty my cup. I don't care if I'm a physician, empty my cup. In fact, when I took those computer classes, they had them available for the general public as community classes, community education. They're like, you know what? We had a lot of doctors come here, they said, because of the electronic health records, which I didn't know a lot about electronic health records. I was first. That's the whole point. And instead of handwriting, and they had said that a lot of doctors were being sent to the class. The old school people didn't really get along well with computers and Word documents, and not just Word documents, but same thing too. I have my records. I should probably find them from when I was a kid, all handwritten from the military base, like pretty much every one of them. Well, yeah, the whole thing is from the military base. They closed down and they gave me my records. You know, I think my parents went and got them when the base closed, which is not normal. Normally they end up at a place, probably microfiche for 10 years and then destroyed. I don't know. So I had to empty my cup and just be like, if I was so good at this, like how to use a keyboard or whatever, I would have had a job by now. Like how to fix your computer when you have like a computer that's a lemon. Ooh, that would be helpful. Like maybe you'll learn that in the class. My problem is sometimes I wish that I was at home bored with this job search thing, but I'm like trying to finish these requirements. Different version 1 issue up through my phone. I had 2 births in September or August, September. I think August. I was so mad. Like, that's 2 more people that I have to follow. 2 more. Well, one of them would have been just a fill-in, but it's 2 more people I have to follow for 10.5 months. 10.5 months. See what I'm saying? You can get called into from somebody you don't know, or you can meet them the week before their baby comes if you're subbing. But as far as shadowing your midwife, you need to know them for a few months, preferably at least 1 month. As I get closer to becoming a midwife myself, it's very crucial that I know what the heck I'm doing. I'm not in a hospital. I'm not going to a conference room discussing it with my colleagues. I'm there, and even now, as a student, I can contribute. I carry my notes around everywhere. I can look something up. I can look something on my phone. I can go through the midwife's car and get stuff while she's doing something urgent, like it's my first 3 years or whatever. I'm not allowed to have students. So I'm going to be the one running everything. I'm going to be the one setting up the tub. I need to know what to do. And somehow I got to figure out how to pay for that stuff. I was going to start, I told the midwife I was going to start buying. She's like, you might work with somebody who has all this stuff. Don't buy anything for your clinic. Most stuff from a natural clinic I already bought. So you use a lot of it for training, like your medical equipment, all this stuff. Some of this kind of needs to be upgraded. Like, some of it needs to be replaced, I think. Try to take good care of it, but it wears out. So right now, I needed to empty my cup. I told myself, my friend said she got all this help from Employment Agency. Everyone I know got checks, and they're a whole heck of a lot. They would have got a check a week more than I get. I'm supposed to get a month. So I've been grumpy. No one not providing me these resources. I'm being a grumpy little brat. And I was like, oh man, I'm really angry. And I'm pouting, and I'm waking up with headaches from auto accidents. I was the type of person that would get like 1 or 2 headaches in 10 years. Like, I'm not joking. And now I have them like daily, and it all started after auto accident, and it's like at least 12 out of 10 pain where it's so excruciating. So I've realized that being in severe pain, I don't pain Helix type supplements. I'm really cutting back. Sometimes people had rebound headaches. I was reading my books. I hardly took, I took a lot of them that my practitioner prescribed. I had gone through a whole bottle. And then I was really stretching it out because it's $45. So I was not taking 4 a day. Primarily because of price. And I was just eating, it's not the same. It has a little bit of turmeric or turmeric extract in it. But I'm like, I didn't want to become, like, I didn't want to palliate these symptoms of auto accident and then run out of whatever medicine I was using and then be like, I wanted to try to figure out how to cope with the pain, and cope with not sleeping, and cope with not being able to feel my hands, and that's why it took me 3 weeks to make a necklace versus when I could do it a lot faster. So, for the Accountability Club, I thought I saw a bat outside too. I'm scared to go outside. Before there was rats, look at the ground, throw stuff, run through the bushes right under your feet. And my kid's like, oh, I've been seeing bats. So I'm like, now it's dark out. I'm like, oh, we're gonna take some garbage out, but I'm all paranoid. He's like, you gotta look at the sky. Like, I had my kid help me look at the sky and the ground, the sky and the sky. I was like, rata-bata, rata-bata. I'm like, all paranoid. But Accountability Club, I have this thing. I'm looking at these other questions. I worked on this weeks ago, right when I got he had, and I had wished that he had, I had wished that he had, when I write and talk at the same time in the past, it has caused me to make mistakes. So hold on a second. He said, can he mail it or can he send it? And I was like, oh, just email it. I mean, can you mail it or email it or whatever? And I was like, oh, just email it. And my computer wasn't working for days. I still, on my, I spent literally half of yesterday doing, when you think you find a job, there's another thing they said, doing a spreadsheet. I was like, I need help with that. I need motivation. Sometimes it's motivation. Sometimes it's knowing other people in the same situation. Sometimes it's getting professional's opinion. I'm not a know-it-all. And even, like, doctors will say, oh, Dr. Google, like, oh, you think you know it all because you looked everything up. Like, actually, I went to med school, and I try not to Dr. Google things, but I'm not new, and I haven't ever gotten a job in 15 bucks. I made $10 an hour at jobs in the 90s, so that's not really anything to brag about, especially with so many years of education, probably around 17. So, for Accountability Club, I did my claim, my weekly claim for unemployment, grumbling about why am I had to spend all this time. I filled out this, I had filled out this form, like, I mean, it's just like, I don't think I needed to put all of this, like, search website. This one is, since they want you to contact somebody by phone, and street has a sign, and I called them for jobs. It's like right around the corner from here. I went in there once, and I walk by it every 2 weeks for my kid's school appointment, and I have allergic reaction to the smell of the smoked meat, and I might be putting corn in it, which I have a highly allergic reaction. I'm scared to go to movie theaters because of it. And I may be walking in there tomorrow to get an application, because I'm like, I would love to be able to walk to work, but I've had allergic reactions and rashes, and my throat closed up. But I'm like, oh yeah, that's what medicine is for. That's what EpiPens are for. That's what 911 is for. Like, I'm like pretty desperate, and they said you need to get a job in your field, but because I'm studying to be because I'm a licensed naturopath, there's a couple jobs in California, there's a couple jobs here and there. Mostly you pay them money to work in their clinic, and you're paying them more than you could lease your own place, basically, with 24/7 access. So they're more like, not like employment jobs. Like, they're not like, hey, you come here, we're going to it's these vision, dental. It's like not like that. If I was a nurse or a certified medical assistant or a certified phlebotomist or MD or osteopath or chiropractor or physician's assistant or, I don't know, a dental assistant, hygienist, anything like that's normal, I would be able to apply for all these jobs I've been seeing in the health field. but because I'm a primary care physician, naturopathic physician in the state of Oregon, the DA certificate with malpractice insurance for $3+1 million, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I don't qualify for anything. Like, there's not one job. Like, I saw one naturopathic job. The closest one is Seattle, and I'm not going to drive 3 hours. I have kids in the house. They're in school. I can't disrupt their school. It's against law. Like, if I had some money, I was like, I don't care. They hire naturopaths in Puerto Rico. I'm like, I'm gone. Like, kids, do you need a passport? I think you do. Get your passport. We're going to go on back and forth every 2 weeks. People that commute like that. And I was so tempted to just be like, or like once a month, like, I was so tempted. The rabbit had to ride with us in the cockpit, but I was so tempted to try to get, like, if I was just not with kids in school, I would potentially, I was thinking moving to the country, to Ashland, to Vancouver, Washington, to Seattle. I know people that had young kids and a wife, and they upped their family and took a residency in Seattle or Tacoma or something, and they seem to be doing awesome. And there's even birthing centers. I was thinking 3 hours away there's a birthing center. Might only be an hour and a half away. And they have a guy who's very experienced, but his midwifery training is from Mexico, I think. So they said that they were hiring midwives who were fluent in Spanish. So I have my studies. I'm working on that. I really want to, I'm like, there's so many things I want to do besides study for this midwifery exam. But if I wasn't doing the midwifery exam this week, I was going to ask them if I could come shadow and attend births this weekend while the midwife was out of town. But I'm like, dude, no, A, I don't have the money. B, your kids are trying to catch up in school. They got a little behind. C, I don't know what C is. But so back to accountability code. I'm still proofing this business feasibility. It's driving me crazy, but I'm like, you know what? I haven't looked at my business plan. I printed my business plan. It's like super long. Oh, here's the job application I'm supposed to be filling out. I'm going to fill that out tonight, I think. The business feasibility. This is like the rough draft, because I also get paranoid that my computer is going to completely crash. Look at my business plan is attached. Why is this so big? Yeah, my business plan is attached. It looks horrible. It says I wanted to move to a different. I was like, oh, I should probably look at this. It's like, oh, this has got some good stuff. So the point being, I'm grumpy about this, and then I need to read the business plan that's really old and apparently printed really poorly, and to an organized person and put this stuff for not only job search, resume, which my coworkers who quit my old job because things got chaotic, they were smart. They already were sending out applications, so they kind of jumped into a job without having to be laid off, and they couldn't collect unemployment. I think they could, because the circumstances were bad. So I have my resume. I think I have my cover letter in here. I might have it somewhere. I have my business plan. I have my self-employment stuff for 3 different businesses, which they're like, no, you can only choose one. I'm like, I've got 3. I'm like, I wrote about 3 because that's who I am, and they might have me pick one, and I will rewrite it and just cut and paste. And it has all of their materials, including this website. And yeah, this stuff. This is the doula training. I just found this. It just fell out, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Where does baby got a? He got a clip on his nose. I mean, this is ink issue. I need, as long as I filled out all the questions, and I pretty much, most of them I filled out of birth last week. I tried to carry this packet and finish stuff, because I'm so busy, like I said, sometimes I wish I could be bored. I'm one to make myself watch a movie, but I'm not letting myself. It's 8:15, maybe I should. Maybe I can bring something. I wish I had one of those little DVD players. I want to go to the dentist and be like, can I watch a movie while I get my teeth cleaned? That would be awesome. I've never owned one of those little DVD players. That we have no DVD player, and that would be cute for the kids. So they had them at the Goodwill, but you don't know how well it would work. And I need my credit score. It costs money. I checked. This sheet says I need my credit score. So I did have my wallet stolen a few years ago. This credit reporting system, or fraud reporting system, and for a month, but within the month, cancel it so they don't charge you, because they charge you like $50 a month or whatever for service if you don't cancel it. Automatic deduct from your account. So I came back to her and made sure that was done, but it did give me my credit score, so that's the only time. You didn't need your. I don't have a job. I don't have an income. And I was thinking I had 2 months, October and November rent in my bank account. They just did a rent review. My rent might go up $100 or $200 in November, and I spent $100 or $200 over $200 on groceries over the course of the month, which is pretty cheap for us. But I was like, oh, I'll get unemployment by week 3, week 4, before November or October, and just replace that rent money and be able to put gas in the car. I didn't receive a penny barbecue and every. And most of their events were focused on midwifery, which would be an excellent resource. And a lot of midwives, the majority of midwives are certified midwives. Not nurse midwives, certified midwives, also out of hospital births, working out of their home or in an office shared with people. They all are looking for assistance to attend births with. And they can draw blood. Like, if someone has thyroid, they can't prescribe thyroid. Like, I could come to office once a week and treat, like, and for now, since I'm not a licensed midwife, I could treat the thyroid and completely let them do all of the primary care for the birth. And then I can also do peds. I don't need a midwife license to be a pediatrician, naturopath ped person, and we're not allowed to call ourselves specialties, although midwifery sounds quite like a specialty because you need a complete separate license, so I guess it's a separate license. But yeah, I was like, what is it, $15, $8 for your credit report, or your credit number, what is it called, number? I don't even know what I'm talking about, I'm delirious. Whatever the number is, credit score, there you go, number. Dave Ramsey will say, your credit score is your debt score. And I'm just going to write that this is the old one that I got, because I did that play the game. I did that one before with AOL. They hundreds of dollars. Oh, sign up. It's free. Put your credit card in. Like, oh, why did you charge me? Like 9 months later, 6 months later, they charge you, and then they don't refund it. Like, they'll give you like $3 at a time. You have to keep calling me on hold. Like, why'd you take my money? But I was like, sometimes you feel like if you got the couple $100 a month, and apparently they think I work less than 20 hours a week, which is really wrong. I missed the deadline. I said I had 10 days, and it's already been 13. I better call tomorrow. Maybe it's business days. I'm like, I think I missed the deadline. I'm so busy trying to get everything done that I just keep track of these papers. Just keep track of these papers. That was my main focus. But yeah, I was like, if I could give you a couple $100 to go ahead and buy paper for my printer so that I can print these applications, that this application was not a fillable, so I can for some reason, so that I can print my resume and proofread it, even if I'm submitting it online. But I didn't get that money, so that I could, if I went over minutes on my phone, so I could pay, because I have a limited amount of minutes shared with Family Plan, and if I wanted to pay for the credit score, if I wanted to go buy some lettuce so I don't go to sleep hungry and tossing and turning and being like, what if this happens for my test? What if this happens for a job interview? Like, I'm going to be having bags under my eyes, and I'm not going to be like, stuttering. But I thought that if you qualify, people you were qualified, that you would get, even if they have to review your case. So that's why I was grumpy about that, because I felt really needy. And I've done this before. I spent years, almost 10 years, trying to get the kid's dad to pay child support, and he hides out. You can't find him. I was told I had to hire a lawyer and pay a monthly fee. And it's like, if I could hire a lawyer and pay a monthly fee, I would just be like, I can't. Someone said, oh yeah, my sister had that same problem. The state wouldn't help her. She spent $3,000-4,000 on a lawyer, and now it's in place. $3,000-4,000? He's only supposed to pay $333 a month total. Like, that's like 10 months. That's like a year. And just because you do all that doesn't mean they're gonna pay a penny. And it also doesn't mean this person is really good at hiding. It doesn't mean a thing if they're hiding out in a rooming house somewhere with no lease signed, living in someone's basement, or living in the street, or, you know, it has a name change, who knows, or working under the table where they wouldn't be able to garnish. This person is not stupid. And unfortunately, I also had the fear of a woman who had a man who was abusing the kids and herself on a regular basis, who had some kind of well-paying job, ended up getting really good lawyers, not paying, still doing visitation, still breaking the kid's arm, doing all this stuff he should be in jail for, and being his way, reports that his ex-wife is psychotic, and just not paying the child support. She's expecting the money. My rent was due 3 days ago, what's going on, and just get away with it, and go to court and be like, too bad. And I've unfortunately saw this person. I saw how much stress it cost her with the visitations and then rude behavior, how much stress it caused with the injuries her kids were enduring because of this abuse, and receiving text messages throughout the night about how lousy she is. I mean, it's like, come on, it's been 15 years, like, let it go. Like, you are grown up, let it go. You know, once in a while some idiot gets drunk and them and their new wife make prank phone calls, but that's not acceptable either. But to be calling someone every night, like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want them to know my phone number, I don't want them to know my address, I don't want to have someone potentially having, you know, there's so many things at Washington State where the guy was abusive. You know, the guy's wife turned up missing, and he had kids. I don't know if it happened in Washington State, but there was that dude. He had taken his 2 little boys in the middle of winter, like 30 or something degrees outside. In the middle of the night, they went camping, and after that, he came back and reported his wife missing. And he had like a little toddler and all their kids. He was camping in the middle of winter with his kids, which, that's not unheard of. It's just weird and coincidental. And he was being watched, never got charged, never found any evidence. I was suspicious about what was in the trunk of the car or what the boys knew, but ended up moving here, or to Washington State, living in a nice suburb or whatever with his dad, I think. Was it his dad or was it her dad? And I think the dad, one of them got busted for child porn and for like voyeurism, whatever, viewing kids across the street naked, getting undressing and stuff, and something creepy like that. So whatever happened, they still let the boys live there, but they had. Wait, no, they didn't let the boys live there. Something happened where maybe they ended up in foster care. They were doing an investigation. Maybe the grandpa went to jail for the child porn. Somebody went to jail. Something happened to kids during the investigation. I don't think he was charged with any of that. And then he was doing supervised visitations. That's what when I went to a homeless shelter, or DV shelter, I was trying to sign up for supervised visitation. Just back to the restraining order. Whatever. I didn't know what to expect if someone's going to kidnap my kids. I think it was the social worker drove the kids to the house. And I can get you the year this happened. It was only a couple years ago. My time span is going out. It was in the last 5 years. I think what she had done was come up to the door and ring the doorbell or whatever with the boys. And the kids and locked them out. And the house blew up and they all died. They all burned up. No money, no amount of money, no amount of supervised visitation, no amount of craziness gonna have me spending $1,000 on a lawyer to get less than 2 or 3 years of. I mean, if they had services to have, sometimes it's like they don't pay, they go to jail after something like $40,000, or they have to pay back child support. They don't care about my case. It's like shoved under the rug, and I'm like, whatever, like, I don't think that's right. I'm always looked at as a bad person. Like, I got this coat at Goodwill. The zipper doesn't work. So anyone donating, please don't, like, I have some stuff from me, but it's kind of, and I'm like, because something's wrong, or buttons missing is kind of a different story, but you don't really, if you zip something up at the Goodwill, you're like, oh, it zips, but then you come home and try to wear it in the middle of winter, and the zipper just separates, and you're like, dang, they probably knew that's probably what, looks like a new coat. So, just FYI, I call it headband, scarf, for free from somebody. They gave me a bunch of clothes, and unfortunately, it's raggedy. Maybe I should sew it. Take my mind off. So, and actually it was like really thin to begin with, and I have an obsession, thank God. I'm trying to be grateful. I have this obsession with washing things regularly. I think, to me, it's normal to wash it a lot. Like, some things get neglected. I forget to wash sheets. That was like a sin in my house. 1 week, that's it. But here, I kind of forget sometimes. I'm really tired. So maybe washing it, besides the fact that it was used and it's like real silk, it's like I should probably sew it, but I don't feel like it's just drop in there. People, oh, she's wearing rags, but I wore it because I have all these things, and I had to go worry. So, anyways, that was a detour. I think I had a third thing I was supposed to do besides study. I didn't clean anything today except for like 20 dishes, including silverware. That sucks. I made a whole bunch of food, trying to make sure nothing gets wasted, trying to just prioritize it. A book about meal plan. It's just, someone at the store was like, well, you got breakfast and lunch down, but you don't have much for dinner. And I'm like, my parents were big on dinners. Dinners cost money. Meats and pastas, potatoes and sauces and fun stuff and steak, fried chicken, baked chicken, stuff from scratch. It takes time and it takes money and it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of fancy. And so I'm like, nowadays people are saying breakfast like a king. What is it? Lunch like a something, like a queen? I don't know. Dinner like a pauper. So, because of digestion. So that's, I was like, oh well, I'm just following that trend. Not on purpose, but I try to feed him more in the day. And when I was working nights, I was feeding him nights. Like, teenagers eating kids snacks, like taking a thing of ramen, use it. But yeah, I felt bad because I would try to get foods that were dense and cheap and stuff they could have for lunch, school lunch. My kids inadvertently got against chemicals and stuff in their food and tried to kind of eat lunch sometimes. Like I ended up with free lunch, but then I had their lunch. They got a little bit nicky, even though I complained that I was too healthy. They started feeling the effects of some of the chemicals and stuff. You know, I think the school lunch was using Tyson chicken or something, which isn't as bad as it could be, but anyways, to make a long story short, I need to study a lot, and I was trying to set boundaries. I got a doctor's and dentist appointment because I had neglected I was working, and I had an appointment with a lawyer to get some resources, a friend of a friend on Thursday, and I feel like I was supposed to get that months ago, and I procrastinated on that, so I decided to go. Some of the midwifery stuff is urgent, and some of it is not. There's somebody due around the time that my test is, but if that's another one, so if I miss another one, it has to be 9 months following, so I'm not going to think about it. My goal right now is, did I bring the notes in? My goal right now is to finish, I was reading this article about St. John's wort, and I'm not sure that it's even going to be anything to do with, thank God some of these articles are mostly bibliography, so thank God. I was going to look up, I thought I heard St. John's wort was illegal in Australia, but I don't know if that's true. There's some of my class 4 notes, and I'm not sure it's all, but one or another, they're complete. And I decided, even though I didn't want you to put it in the notebook and in the little box that I told myself at the beginning of the summer, the little gray box downstairs, this was my midwifery notes. So the stuff I already read, I'm going to put in there and dump the other stuff in the recycling. I'm trying to save packaging materials and stuff for my business, but my mind right now is just like, you need to declutter. I'm sure you have some brand new stuff from when you moved. I was like, who cares? Just use a brand new paper towel and a zipper bag, just in a bubble wrap envelope. But I don't want bugs or any weird stuff or grease stains on anything. I don't want to waste paper, but at this point in time, some stuff is probably best, I felt like, in my heart. Just get rid of it and try to, deal with this after being in school, whatever, 17 years. Just try to get through this test, take care of your kids, pray for a job. My ultimate prayer is I open my own clinic and retail store and get paid to be a doula. But my ultimate goal is to pass this test and stay sane and take care of my family the best way I can. And if there's support out there, the good Lord to help support or even mutual support each other. So far that's been really low in my life, but I understand other people are dealing with their own issues in this fast-paced life, and people are dealing with illnesses and deaths in the family and having to get their kids to school and da-da-da-da-da, and I haven't had tons of time to help other people either, and sometimes your own energies, like I said, my friend's energy, where that brat about it, and that's why a lot of people hire people to help them, but that's not an option for me right now, unless God tells me to. But I think I'm going to read as much as I can and do that application I was flipping through, I forgot about it, and be grateful that my computer works, and be grateful that my phone works, be grateful that I paid October rent, it's only the 4th, be grateful that I have an opportunity to still take care of my kids, that I want to be a more perfect mommy, and I'm not at a level of momminess that I want to be, but I took full responsibility of the children, based on my marriage and what was going on between me and my ex-husband, their father, and I took full responsibility. I'm not gonna lie, it's been, and I usually just want to cry. Like, all last week, I just woke up and cried. Every day I was waking up crying, feeling defeated, and I finally, well, after being at a birth and relaxing and studying and doing the unemployment stuff, I started being like, that person told me, just do the next right thing, do the next right thing. It's not easy. It's not easy for a lot of people. It looks easy for some people, but it's not easy for everyone. And so I just, earlier, hours ago, just remind myself, change your attitude. You are angry, you are frustrated, you're exhausted, your eyes hurt, your throat hurts, you don't feel good, you're freezing cold, you're refusing to turn the heat on, which reminds me, I gotta shut all the windows. It's warmer outside than it was inside. Refusing to turn the heat on. I'm mad because this light's on. This needs to go off. This light, there's 2 light bulbs in the. It's required. If they do an inspection and find one of these light bulbs out, you can face eviction. I kid you not. It's in the lease. So I'm going to go turn that off. I've got my. I don't like compact fluorescent bulbs, but I have them in several lights because I don't like the color, and I don't like the mercury in them, and I don't like something about them, but I use it because I'm a cheapskate, and I have some laying around, and they last like forever. And these ones, I almost had our place burned down with fluorescent, so I have, somebody gave me 22-year LEDs, and I was like, dude, if those, I can't buy an incandescent bulb anymore. If those go out, I'm not putting a compact fluorescent. Our place literally almost burnt down, and luckily it tripped the wire, and the maintenance came, and there was several burnt wires, completely melted, and it was flickering for days, and you're not supposed to put them in, that one's only one light, shoot. For the next inspection, we gotta change it. You're not supposed to put your compact fluorescent in a recessed bulb or in a color, because it heats. They say that it heats up and wastes energy. Those ones heat up too. The bottom part is some kind of energy thing. It really heats up, and these LEDs are super expensive. And I'm like, when I move out, I'm gonna take my LEDs and be like, the new light bulbs in. I have this thing. I have a book called 100-Watt Wars. I'm so busy reading these books, these business books, and my studies. I'm like, I can't wait to read that book. But what I'm thinking is, I'll do my test, keep doing midwifery requirements, get my kids settled in school, and then eventually, sooner hopefully than later, which is really hard because I'm trying to cram, just go ahead and ask God to lead me to the right job that's working for myself. Even if I'm working 20, 40 hours a week or more at a job that pays money, I'm still committing to following my dream of working as a naturopathic physician. And like I said before, because of our lease, we're not allowed to work from home. If I could, like many physicians, they do house calls and don't bring anyone in the house, but they go out and they do house calls. And there may, I can get malpractice liability insurance through my home address, but if something comes up and there's some kind of complaint or some kind of action, I want to be jeopardizing my lease. So, as an honest person, sometimes I kick myself and I'm like, good Lord, I could be supporting my family right now before the next 2 crowds of naturopaths graduate and get licensed, but I'm a stickler for rules, so that is not an option unless I were to go to the management and get something in writing. And so far, unless it's from a doctor or something, nothing has been granted. It's like denied. It's like, can I sleep on my porch? No. It's like I'm scared. Like, I won't even ask basic things anymore. It's like, okay then, am I allowed to vacuum? No. It's like, ooh. It's like every symbol that I ask, they just automatically say no. It's like that angry parent that just wants to be mean to the kid. But that's just like 3 hours of videos today. So, as you can see, I need to take a break from making videos and get back to work. God bless.